Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mouthful of Marbles. I am your host, Chasey, the Goose, and with me, David, the Lake Lagus. David, how are you today?
Honestly, a little hungry, but that's okay.
Ah, yes.
Marbula1 satiates me.
Marbula1 is all we need.
True.
Actually, before we say anything else, I just want to say thank you to all of you people that have not only been subscribing, but more importantly, leaving comments, giving us amazing topics to talk about here in the future, and just having great interactions in general, and sharing and liking and posting and all that stuff. We very much appreciate it. We're trying to just get the word out about some Marbula1, but today we had a great qualifying. I was on the edge of my seat, like honestly, like I was literally on the edge. The Razzway, David, take it away.
An incredible qualifying.
Incredible.
So very intriguing. I mean, the storylines going into this race are immense. And what I find really interesting, and I know we've talked about this over the past couple of weeks, is racer selection for these Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Because we have quite a few racers this week that raced last week.
Kind of came out of nowhere, in fact. I was very surprised.
The marbles that raced last week that are racing again today, back-to-back Grand Prix, performed very well. Of the top 5, 3 of the marbles raced last week. Of the top 10, 7 of them raced last week. So that begs the question, especially for someone like, Smoggy, Wispy, these marbles, Mimo even, on pole. Incredible lap from Mimo, which we'll get into later.
Wow.
But those top marbles, are they going to run out of steam? Is the stamina there for these marbles that had to go through the whole... I mean, we had short circuit last week, so that's not the most intense Grand Prix.
True.
However, this is perhaps the most technical Grand Prix with the chicanes we have.
Yeah.
Turns 9 and 10, the hairpin right before that. We have really a very difficult circuit this week.
Yes.
So will these marbles be able to maintain that sort of speed for the duration of the Grand Prix?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And let's pull up the Razzway right now and let's just talk about the track for a second here. What I noticed. So we'll just talk about overall what we thought the best lines were, and then we'll go into each individual, well, not each individual marble, but the ones that we think are the ones that you should be looking out for. For me, I'll start in turns 2 and 3. The biggest problem that I saw was the amount of speed that some marbles had going into it. If they went up on the curb on the very outside, it really hindered their ability to get a nice turn 4. If you saw Smoggy's lap, I know obviously you saw Smoggy's lap because Smoggy's your guy, but he did not go up on the curb, and he took a nice route on the very edge of the curb, and it really catapulted him to have a pretty good first sector. And I think that was the key for that. Almost no one took the speed boost right before turn 6. I'm not sure if that's because they too much speed going into those curves, or what was going on there.
I think that's what it was, because as we saw, if you had a really fast sector 1, you had a much worse sector 2,
yes,
and vice versa. I think they all realized going into sector 2, you needed to be slowing down because of how technical sector 2 is. That hairpin and that chicane, you need to be on the right line. It doesn't... How fast you're going isn't as important as being on the right line, and that speed boost can kind of hinder that. And we did see, I think, the biggest differentiator between a good lap and a bad lap at the Razzway was hitting that attenuator out of the hairpin.
Right.
That was huge. And we all saw when Rapidly going last completely missed the attenuator. We freaked out.
What a lap. That was incredible. We really thought,
I was scared. I was very scared. That was, dude, those last 2 marbles. But Smoggy and Rapidly, just the rivalry that we're seeing right now this season between the Hazers and the Savage Speeders, it's coming down to the wire. And
it's really down to those two, in my opinion.
More exciting.
Yeah, it really looks like it's down to those two. Obviously, and we'll talk about the racers a little bit as well. But actually, let's stay on the track for a second. Obviously, the attenuator, which we talked about, but that 9 and 10 chicane, and then going into turn 11, especially like on that turn 11, how they have the bumpers almost. I'm not entirely sure what those are, but they make that so narrow. So when there's a lot of racers on the track tomorrow, it's going to be really interesting to see who can take the right line, and if you want to stay on the right side or the left side, because we can't really tell. But it was very interesting to see how much from turns 8 to 11 really almost made or broke the lap times for these qualifiers. So it was absolutely fantastic. But the fact that Mr. Mimo took the pole position. I did not see that coming in the slightest.
No.
What are we supposed to do with that? I don't even know.
Well,
What are
well,
we
just
supposed to
getting
do with this?
well with just back to the Razzway for a slight second. I think you mentioned how narrow it is in sections, and I
Yeah,
think for a lot and how technical it is. I think this could really we could draw some parallels with the Monaco Grand Prix and Formula One here.
sure. Oh yes,
Overtaking could be
absolutely.
difficult in a lot of segments here,
Hmm.
and it should be very interesting. And we all know how exciting Monaco can be.
Oh yeah.
The Razzway should be just as interesting. And speaking of the name of the Razzway, the home curse returns this
The
week
qualifying
for the
curse for
Raspberry
sure.
Racers. Unfortunately for you.
Well, I believe that last week the Thunderbolts didn't have a great qualifying, which is what we've seen. The curse
That's
is
true.
really on the qualifying, but they did very well in the race, coming in second. I think it was Shock last week as well, wasn't it? That raced. I don't remember, but he had a great race last week. So hopefully, my boys, the racers, the Raspberry Racers on their home track can do something. But I'm not really looking. I'm not really. They had a great time off the belt, if I recall. They had a great
True.
sector one, as you can see in the graph there. They had a great sector one, but that sector two really killed it. If you hit the attenuator in this qualifying, you were basically done, and you had no shot of catching up. Momo and I think Rapidly had the best attenuator in the sense
Yeah.
that they didn't hit it at
Smoggies
all.
wasn't bad either. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just they're like that really made or broke it,
Yes,
and it
that's
was
absolutely
interesting.
true.
And it's very gonna be very interesting if I may learn how to speak. It's going to be very interesting to see how how it changes with the amount of marbles on the track,
Right.
rather than just thinking about it that way.
Absolutely. They're gonna be bumping into each other for days on that attenuator. And
Yeah,
so back to Mimo's lap.
yeah.
I absolutely don't know what we do with that because Team Momo has been fairly mediocre this season. I mean, just
Not
they've
mediocre.
been terrible.
They're in like last, aren't they? In
Are
the
they?
standings. They're
Oh,
they're in the bottom two. I'm pretty sure.
okay. Well, their qualifying, I should say, their qualifying has been fairly mediocre. I know they haven't been the worst
They're
qualifiers.
15th in standings right now.
Right. So they have been terrible.
Yeah,
Uh, they're no Mary, but
we
Mimo
will get
coming
there.
out of nowhere. I mean, seventh place last week, not bad, right? Seventh place, especially for a team
Yeah.
doing that poorly.
That might be
Mimo's
why they decided to
clearly
put him in again this
rebounding the
week.
team.
Might
Yeah,
be.
absolutely. So Mimo's lap obviously super impressive. Moving on, I know we've talked about throughout the season the team selection from the Hazers team principal. I've had questions about it.
We did. But this week,
And I've always said I was really hoping this. I knew this track would be so good for Smoggy. We've talked about it,
we have.
and oh my god, when I saw
Yeah, that was surprising.
Smoggy was going to be out there today, I was so incredibly hyped because I just knew. And he went out there and he got into second,
Yep.
and we all know that's where you want to be.
I love what
And
the principals did.
couldn't be happier.
Yeah, it's very.
And a lot of team principals made great decisions.
Yeah,
I mean,
I believe. I think so.
the O Rangers pulling out Orangin, which that's the obvious choice here after what he did at Greenston. This
Yep.
is sort of a similar circuit in some areas, some aspects. So Orangin could be huge. If we talk about the individual standings here, what the implications for the race tomorrow could be, we've got the top three being Rapidly, Smoggy, and Orangin. All of them are fairly not that far back. They're 6 points at least.
Yep.
That's Rapidly 6 points behind Prim and Snowy.
Snowy.
Is it
Yep.
Snowy? Yeah. And so they're a little bit behind, but if they have a great Grand Prix this week, they could pull it off because no one knows what's going to happen with
Yeah.
Prim and Snowy next
Well,
week.
I think
so
it
Rapidly, Smoggy, and Orangin all still have a shot.
Yeah, they do. It really comes down to those three this week, back to back to back, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be interesting. I think that the constructors championship might come down this week to the Hazers and the Savage Speeders. I think that they will solidify their top two positions, and I think it'll be really close. Although, as we mentioned, and as we've mentioned before, second place tends to do better than first. So Smoggy starting off in second could look very good for you. Most of the time, second place takes the lead right away off the belt. And yeah, so speaking of off the belt, the hottest marble offset belt, in my opinion, was Mary. And of
Oh, that's true.
course, during this qualifying, I had high hopes for Mary. I was really thinking that she was going to do a little bit better, especially off the rip. When she came flying off the belt like that, I was like, you know what, this might actually not be bad. And then I think she actually had the worst attenuator on the planet. Like I don't think like, and all the Fs in the chat during that time were just
And
hilarious.
she had the worst sector 3 of all the marbles. I mean,
Yeah, by a
at this
lot.
point, at this point, Mary, awful laps. I mean, just the worst qualifier. It's not even close. I mean, Mary's garbage. Okay. Now,
She's
my
like
question:
averages 15th or 16th.
why are you not? There's 2 races left.
Yeah,
Is Prim going to be that worn out if you just race Prim the last? I mean,
yeah.
Team Primary has got to consider doing something because Mary is just destroying the team from the inside. You have to just use Prim now. You don't have another choice. I have no idea what they're doing putting Mary out there. Clearly, this is a Marbula 3 marble. This is
Yeah,
not even a Marbula
not
2
even
marble at
not
this
even
point.
two. Yeah, I wonder if it's just because it's the first season, they're just giving everybody an equal shot, especially with Formula 2 coming up. Maybe we'll have a specific marble for each. I'm not entirely sure. And it was a great qualifying this week. Okay, so let's go into our predictions for the race. I'll start with you. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow? What are you thinking?
I'm taking Smoggy's going to win.
Wow.
Smoggy is going to win. Orangin in second. Okay. And then I think Rapidly, I don't know. Rapidly could be third. Rapidly could hang in there. I think Rapidly has a chance to fall back as well. You could see someone like Shock making a move up, I think.
Hmm.
But I'm my top 2, Smoggy and Orangin. As much as I dislike the O-Rangers and as much as I love the Hazers, I think those will be the top 2. I think Memo's going to fall back. I don't think Memo has
Yeah, I
much of a
don't think
chance
so
of
either.
maintaining that position. Now, here's the other thing. Team Galactic's
Oh,
meteoric drop.
oh my gosh. These guys, they've lost it.
Unfortunate.
They've
They're
lost it.
not at this point. I'm more scared of the O-Rangers in terms of the Constructors' Championship than I am of Team Galactic, even though Team Galactic has at least, what is it, a 5-point lead on the O-Rangers?
Yep.
So Team Galactic is falling apart. Pulsar, however, has shown in the past an ability to rise from back in the grid.
That is
So
very true.
we might see something there. Anyways, sorry about
I don't
that.
think I don't think that's going to happen though. Pulsar did not look good on this track. I mean, if you're down in shouting distance of Mary, you're not doing very well. So okay, so that was your top three. I'm gonna go with a little bit of a different prediction here, because I was rewatching all of the races yesterday, just trying to make sure that I had all the context I could have. And the Green Ducks, a story no one's really talking about, nowhere. I'm telling you right now, they're talk about a meteoric fall. These guys had 42 points in the first 3 races. They have 46 points now. Like they were in second place 3 races in. Like it's incredible. I watched 2 races. They got like first and then second in back-to-back races, and now they're just doing nothing. So I am going to say that Billy is going to turn it around, and I think that he is going to be in the top 3. I'm not entirely sure where, but I think that he's going to get back to the Green Ducks way, and actually start doing better. So I do think that Rapidly and Smoggy are going to be in the top 3, and then I'm going to throw Billy in there. I think Origin is going to be there, but I don't think it's going to be as good of a race as we saw from him the last time he raced. And then I honestly still think, even though it is not snowy, but it is Snowflake, that they will get in the top 5 and get in the
But
points.
this isn't really their sort of circuit, is it? The Snowballs. I mean,
I have faith in my snowy friends.
okay. Well, Snowflake has been significant. I mean, he's been the Mary again to Snowy's Prim. So that dynamic's going to be interesting going into this. So do you have a pick for who's going to win the Grand Prix?
I honestly think that Rapidly is going to win. I've seen him race too many times. He's been too consistent.
Rapidly is excellent.
I can't knock on Rapidly's game.
That's fair. I really think that Smoggy has a great opportunity to get the Hazers their first Grand Prix victory in their Marbula 1 history. I think that could be huge, could catapult them to a Constructors' Championship this season.
Well, let's hope so for your sake. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching. We got so into this that we got a little carried away, but we appreciate you watching. If you watched all the way through, please leave a comment telling us that we did so we can like it and love you even more. And we hope that you will join us for tomorrow's video after the race. This has been Mouthful of Marbles. Don't forget, leave comments down below. Give us some topics you want us to discuss next week after the race. And we will see you after tomorrow's Razzway Grand Prix.